what's up, y'all? It's Lee.
I'm Jordan.
And this is the Mind Your Business podcast. Join us weekly to learn how to mind your business.
Or at the very least, be able to tell people how to mind theirs, honey.
Drop the beat.
Boom.
Mind it, hope.
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. Okay, deja vu.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast. We are on episode 24 or 25?
25.
25. Episode 25. So, yeah. Like I said last time, international podcasters.
Do this for a living.
Y'all hear us coming to you live from the beach in Mexico, aka Mesquite, Texas.
Yeah.
But we gonna pretend we on the beach.
Y'all hear that water? It's cool water.
In the cicadas.
that mimic the waves hitting the shore.
That's what it is.
And we got on
We have on beach clothes.
Yeah.
Sorta.
Because it's hot.
Which
It ain't that bad.
it's not. We're in the
It's
shade.
it's cast and it's overcast today, so you know.
So yeah, it's the week that we've been looking forward to, and
Now I'm trying to figure out where can I wear my Mexico clothes in the city.
this was one of my Mexico outfits for walking around. I was like, it's gonna get worn today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see all of
So
that.
this week we were supposed to go to Mexico. I think it's pretty safe to say that we will not be in Mexico because the passport agency did not send our passports.
There's still tomorrow.
Well, there's kind of not because. Well, no, I say that because the hotel had to be canceled by tonight. So without, so that they don't charge you the full amount.
True.
So I was just like, well, okay, and I don't want to fuck around and fall asleep.
Yeah.
And forget. So I went ahead and canceled it this morning.
And there's still tomorrow.
There's still tomorrow that the passports will come.
And we will stay somewhere.
Nowhere questionable. And when have me get got by the cartel. But yeah, so it's my birthday week.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop. Yep, I'm turning 31 on Saturday, July the 10th. So yeah.
What we gonna do?
Y'all, I don't even know. Like,
I told her to have a pool party. She don't really like pools.
I can't swim.
But she ain't gotta swim if she can float.
I can't float. I can just stand there in 4 feet of water.
And you can
And
just
smile.
float in 4 feet of water. Like, I'll do you a little tie. You have the anchor right here. And boom. You just floating.
So yeah, I don't know what my weekend's going to look like. We probably need to figure it out so that we can get affairs in order. But yeah.
Brunch.
Yeah.
That's always a good one.
I just like drinking.
Yeah, brunch and drink.
But yeah, so how was your week?
Did I even have a week? Let's see. What happened? Nothing happened. I went to work, came home from work. They are supposed to start working on the floors tomorrow, so that's a thing. But other than that, no, didn't have a week. I felt pretty neutral. Still kind of feel pretty neutral.
Okay.
Yeah.
It be like that.
I ain't got nothing going on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Where did we eat on Wednesday?
54, no, I keep calling it 54th Street. Boomer Jack.
Oh, Boomer Jack.
It was decent.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. The appetizers made it okay.
It gave me exactly what I felt Boomer Jack would give me.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I wasn't expecting much. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my week. Oh, my sister came down here yesterday. Yes, yesterday, and so we hung out. That was cool. Had me some drinks. Chilled out by the pool.
I mean, sounds good to me.
That was my 4th. What did you do? 4th of July just passed.
I didn't do anything.
Okay.
I don't know why I had to think about that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it was.
I didn't do anything. I was supposed to, but didn't.
Yeah.
I went to brunch yesterday morning. That was cool.
Where you went?
What's it called?
Sure.
No, Black Walnut Cafe.
Oh, you like that place.
I like their brunch. I don't like their food.
Mm-hmm.
Their food can be, like, they try to be too fancy and they ain't got no sauce on the noodles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But their brunch is pretty good. I had chicken and waffles. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't really think I had anything going on this week either.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I'll take it. Things are slowing down, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really have much going. I didn't have any overwhelming thoughts or anything like that, so. Okay.
So who minded their business this week for you?
Phylicia Rashad.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why. Because I
Well,
thought people was upset with her because...
They are, because they're not minding their business.
Okay.
So, with the whole Bill Cosby, Phylicia Rashad, whatever, the reason I say she's minding her business is because you have a right to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we as a people are getting to the point that it's not okay to have an opinion. Like, we have almost like a communist attitude, like, this is how everybody should feel, and if you don't feel that way, it's a problem.
And you should take away your sponsorships, your livelihood.
Yeah, and that you should just be terrorized. And, you know, I think we all have a line of morality. I think we all have where our lines and stuff go, and, well, this is what I consider good, this is what I consider bad, and blah, 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 blah. But with Miss Phylicia Rashad supporting Bill Cosby, did y'all expect anything else? I mean, that was her coworker, her whatever, for years. That's been her close friend for years. She has a right to believe that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
If somebody accused my brother of sexual assault and there was not evidence, like, distinctly putting him there, I probably would believe my brother didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there was just something that made me think that you did.
Yeah.
You know, and
especially after if the behavior doesn't line up. If everything that I've seen, heard, never gave me any inkling or sort of behavior that said, oh, he's at least capable of this, then the mind just naturally doesn't even go there.
Right. And I think that that's pretty natural. Most of us support our family members. Hell, y'all be supporting y'all, and y'all know they did it. And I think that says a lot too. But I think that she has the right to support him. She has the right to look at something and draw her own opinion. And I don't think that you should be chastised. Now, your opinion may not be the predominant opinion, and it may not be popular, but it's yours, and you're free to have that. And so, yeah. Now, that doesn't say that I agree or disagree, but I think that I think the prevailing thing is we always believe believers of sexual assault. And this is coming from somebody who works sex crimes, who has been sexually assaulted herself. I say I always give them the floor. But I need to hear what you say.
Yeah.
I need to hear the facts. I need to hear what you can give me, if you can give me anything. And I know that there are some extreme cases out there, and, you know, they may not be able to tell you much of anything, and those cases exist. And I think that when you tell me your story, I'll kind of be able to understand why these things are the way they are. But I will always give you the floor. But you're not going to tell me what I have to believe and what I don't believe.
Right.
That's not what I'm here for. Because you could be sexually assaulted and have the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
You could be sexually assaulted and change your person because of who it is. These are all things that we would see in sex crimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll always give you the floor. I will never silence your voice, but I will use my mind and my voice to make a sound decision on what I believe, and then it'll go to a court of law, which is a whole nother story. But I just think that, you know, people coming out saying, let's cancel her and all this other kind of stuff, and I'm just kind of like, that's a bit far to me.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like she kind of had to belittle her opinion, but she still did it with grace.
Right.
The grace that we know Phylicia Rashad to have. So yeah.
So she apologized and she said that she's going to be attending some sort of training.
And she really didn't owe you an apology.
Yeah, or something similar to that.
And she really doesn't. I don't think she needs a training.
Mm-hmm.
I think she supported somebody who you felt like was guilty, and so you said, well, since that's how you feel, here's the punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because at some point in our lives, we'll all have an unpopular opinion. And that doesn't make your opinion wrong. A lot of unpopular opinions are actually right. So, that's why it's unpopular. So, okay. Who's minding their business for you?
My person is Megan the Stallion, Thee. Because I learned that she will be in the Disney Plus animated version of She-Hulk. She'll be appearing as herself, so she'll be in the comic.
Oh, wow.
The comic show. And
So
I
it's
think
going to be a TV show?
Uh-huh. Called She-Hulk. And I think that's so cool. Just to see her dreams kind of play out and, you know, see that, you know, she's open to doing various different things. It was a fly. Okay. But yeah, to see her opening up and doing things that she's into and just broadening her influence on the world. I'm like, come on, girl, keep going. Because she's also on the show that I'm binge watching called Legendary. And I was just like, I didn't know she was. I kind of thought she may have been like a guest judge, but she's on every episode.
For 2 seasons.
For 2 seasons. So that's another check. You know,
Yeah, get all
she
the
gathering
checks.
them all. And I aspire. So yeah, that's my
Well, and
question.
good for Megan, because she's commented a lot on her love for anime and how anime is her thing. And so I'm not surprised that
No,
she's
not
going to
at all.
be on. I just didn't know she was, but I'm not surprised at all that she would take the chance to be on an animated, you know, cartoon, especially one based on comics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, comics and anime are different, but still, get in where you can fit in. So
Work your
good
way
for
up.
her. Good for her.
Okay. So what's going on in these streets?
Well, I think we have all heard by now that Miss Sha'Carri will not be competing in the 100-meter, I don't know, relay, race, dash,
Olympics.
the Olympics.
Ugh.
She tested positive for marijuana, which is a banned substance, and she was not. They didn't use the word disqualified, suspended for 1 month.
And I think I heard, or I've been seeing like headlines saying that she has been allowed, she's taken a 30-day suspension, and it ends prior to the race, and she'll still be able to. But I gotta.
Yeah, because I was confused why they were using the word suspension, 1 month suspension versus disqualified.
Right.
But from my understanding is it's like she never ran the 100-meter race.
Okay.
So her score is no longer present there. So therefore, like, how would you run? I don't know. I'm confused. Because my brother kept saying hopefully she'll be able to run the 4x4, and I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know nothing about no 4x4s. So
I know trucks. 4x4 trucks, meaning all 4 tire thingies have their own little drive thingy.
is that like all-wheel drive?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
All wheels have like their own little turning thingy, so they can, if one is stuck, the other 3 will be can still
Oh.
move. Uh-huh. It's important.
Okay. Okay. I'm over here like I never knew what that meant. I mean, I had a general idea, but still didn't know. So yeah, this was met with a lot of disappointment, a lot of criticism for the rules, and a lot of people saying, let her run. It's not fair. Me personally, I think it's very fair. The rules are the rules. And I agree with President Biden when he said rules are the rules. Mm-hmm. But maybe the rules need to change. But in this time, this, case in point, this was the rule, and you knew and you broke it. And even she said that, you know?
That's what she said.
I know that her grieving the loss of her biological mom was what she said was a factor, and I wish that she would have been provided another outlet to cope. But, that's the outlet that she chose, and it came with consequences. And so I think that this story is really good on talking about the consequences of our actions and whether or not they go against our own part. Because there's nothing wrong with weed. And it's not a performance enhancer at all.
Right.
If anything, it's going to make you run slower, and she still does them. But the fact that when there are rules in place, even when we don't agree with them, if we are taking part in a certain function, an event, this is the rule.
It's what's expected.
And you don't get to break the rules and then say, well, XYZ. Because that's the rule. If the rule was you can't eat no oatmeal, that's the rule. As stupid as it.
My oatmeal.
I do too. That's why I chose it. We eat it every day. But that's the rule. And so, I started seeing people drawing comparisons to what's that boy name? Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. Because what did they do in his case?
So with him, I think he tested positive after.
Okay.
But that he had, I guess, probably been using during, but it wasn't caught. I don't really know because I don't care about Michael Phelps, and I didn't really read up on it. And I think he has like 28 medals. And so, there was all these memes of like Michael Phelps and his 28 medals reading the news, and it'd be like him getting in the car, that kind of thing. And people were saying that, racially, that it's not fair, that this is just to keep her out, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, the rules are the rules. I don't really think that now, of course, are people of non-color and just non-black general provided a different sort of grace and mercy? Yes. A different type of light in the limelight? Yes. But that's not what this was. They tested you like they tested everybody else, and you were, you were positive. And I think with the overwhelming notions that I was seeing from like people on Facebook and stuff, I'm like, okay, so when we're talking about like equality here and equity, do you want to get away with the bad things that you do, like our non-black, non-people of color counterparts? Or do you want them to be held to the same standard that we are when they do bad? Because that's two different conversations, and what it's coming off is you want to get away with stuff. Yeah. You don't actually want
We
them
want
to
their
be held.
privilege.
Right.
We want their privilege.
And then I have to wonder, like, when you say things like that, okay, we're talking, sports and, nobody's really harmed here. So when we're talking how people get these crazy sentences, we'll say for armed robbery, and two people, white and black, do the same exact thing. Are you wanting the black armed robber to get off? Or are you wanting the white armed robber to be held accountable like black people, because black people are held to the full extent of the law? And those are two different conversations, and I think they kind of speak to you, because if you're wanting the armed robber, the killer, all of this to get off, then I don't think we're fighting the same fight here.
Yeah. And a lot of the times I think you see that difference. I think it shows up a lot in the conversations that we have, and I do think that there is some resentment, some anger there, to where we are just wanting to be let go.
Right.
Let off.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did all this for so and so and so and so and so and so years, so why we can't do it for blah 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 blah.
Right. which I think is not the right attitude. I think it needs to be that the law is applied evenly across. And your race is not a factor. But I still want people punished. I don't care who you are. If you did the crime, I want you punished.
But I also think it's a maturity thing.
When we gonna mature? Because this is, this be people of all ages.
Yeah.
I'm like, so when we maturing, I think too, your worldview.
Yeah.
Some people ain't never been nowhere, ain't never seen nothing, and they're very limited in what they see and understand. And I'm not calling them dumb. I'm just saying you're ignorant to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ignorant is the lack of knowledge. So maybe you only see things in black and white. You don't have any other scope. I don't really know, but I really hate that we won't be seeing her in the Olympics. I was ready to see her dust these girls. Like, I really was. And I'm glad that Nike has chosen to support her, which is something that she needs right now.
Yeah.
You know what? That's not the right way to deal when you're running an Olympic race. When you have things, that you're betting on, and you know that this is the rule, that's not the right way to cope. Not right now. You do that when ain't nobody paying you for your time.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that they decided to keep her because we all fall short. We all fall short. So, and I'm happy that she handled it with grace.
She did.
She really handled it with grace. I wouldn't really give you too much about it. I'm like, well, I did it. Ain't much to say there. Next.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that she still has a bright future. I think she's only 19.
Yeah.
I think so. She still has 4 years to be running and, whatever, and to get her endorsements and do her thing. So, I'm ready to just see where this takes her.
She did it. It's a thing. Not to be the hippie. But I'm just kind of like, the judgment, she's already been judged by the people who it counts and who it matters by. Okay? The people who signing them checks, I'm assuming, made their judgment. That's the rest of it is just chitter chatter. Like I don't need to hear your opinion or anybody else's about how I should have known better or what I should have did or what I could have did, because it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do all types of things in grief. I'm not giving anybody any excuses. I'm just trying to help people understand the point of view. We do various things in grief. Some people go and spend a lot of money. Some people go and use weed.
Yeah.
But as long as you are able to be accountable for whatever follows after that, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what being grown and making your own decisions. That's what it means. That's what it's about. So.
And I will say that this whole situation I guess I probably knew this in the back of my head somewhere, but I definitely see why college coaches who have these star athletes, whatever, no matter the sport, I see why they like damn near be controlling their whole lives. Like no boyfriend, no girlfriend. You will be in the house by X amount of time. No, you can't go out there and play pickup basketball and you're the basketball star. You go out there and break your ankle, now what? I definitely see why, because, I think what people forget is these are still children.
Yeah.
At 19, there ain't much difference from 17. You just was on the earth 2 more years. All right, well, that's the end of the podcast. It's flies out here. No, it's
okay. It's probably the same one.
It probably is, and there's one right here. But yeah, I definitely see, because these are still children. You can't expect them to use, even though you could say, hey girl, you're in the Olympics. You might not want to smoke that. Children do not, their brain doesn't process like that. Otherwise, if that was the case, they would do stuff that made sense all the time. Yeah. I mean, we're 30.
Long-term thinking.
Yeah, long-term thinking. Think realistic thinking. A lot of times children think that they're going to get away with things. And not to belittle her and call her a child, but brain-wise, you have not fully developed. There's just things that are there.
Yeah.
And so I think that, having strong mentorship, strong leadership goes a long way, whether you're an athlete or not, because it just goes to show how one mistake can really cost you.
Yeah.
Something so trivial that we probably all done, never got caught up, never got in trouble for. One mistake can cost you.
Yeah.
So that was with Miss Shakari, but I still believe in her.
Yeah, we rooting for you, girl.
Yeah,
It
girl.
ain't changed nothing over here.
But you know, then I saw this thing where this lady over in Australia was trying to make her out to be like a steroid user, talking about, I don't know if it's real, but the long hair, the long nails, that's an indicator of steroid use. And I said, you know, now that is the problem. Because anybody looking at her know that's a wig and know them acrylics.
Yeah, that's the judgment I was talking about.
And then she tried to compare her to Flojo, who did not die from steroid use.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that that's really...
And passed all her tests.
It passed all of her tests, and I think that that's just really crappy to try to ruin somebody's legacy who can't defend it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then try to tear down the new generation of, you know, athletes or whatever. I don't want to say like the new legacy, but, you know, try to tear her down, and you're only doing it racially.
Yeah.
Because why you didn't compare her to none of them white athletes that did get caught up? How come you didn't compare her to them? But you know, Flojo had the long nails, which was acrylics then too. So, you know, I was just like, you see how people come for you? So, yeah, so that was that.
What else?
We talked a little bit about Phylicia Rashad, but Bill Cosby was released from jail.
Do we be like whoop whoop, or do we just kind of like?
You do whatever you feel you do. you do whatever you feel you believe. Somebody actually asked me yesterday what I believed, and I was like, you know, I didn't even follow his trial that close, honestly. I don't know what I was doing like 3 years ago, but I didn't follow it. I just knew that there was a
It was 3 years ago?
I feel like it's been like 2-3 years now.
Yeah, I didn't keep up with it much either.
And it's not out of like, I didn't care. It's just there'd be a lot going on. I just didn't follow it. But apparently something happened in the trial or something like that, and it was grounds for a mistrial. Like somebody really like dropped the ball, they said. And so it was grounds for a mistrial. And so there's been a lot of talk about what this means for sexual assault survivors, the legal system when it comes to sexual assault, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because it's not just a black and white thing. It's a lot of things. You know, people question, well, why do women wait?
Right.
And, you know, like I said to somebody yesterday, I was like, you know, I'm sure if you lined up all of our grandmothers and asked them, how many of you guys have been sexually assaulted, and they were forced to tell the truth, more than, probably most of them would raise their hand, sexually assaulted in some sort of fashion.
Right.
Especially if you have an older grandmother. I'm sure many would raise their hand. I think if you just lined up people in general and asked them from birth till now, how many of you have been sexually assaulted, a lot would raise their hand. And then if you asked your loved one who you love the most, who did that to you, and they tell you, well, 20 years ago, it was my neighbor, I'm sure you'd want that neighbor to go to jail. You don't care that it's been 20 years. You don't care that they never said anything. You want retribution for what happened. And so I think that we have to keep that in mind, that, you know, when we're talking about sexual assault from years and years and years ago, there was nothing in place for you. There was no rape kits. There was nobody, if you weren't beaten bloody and it was a home invasion, your husband was there and somebody raped you, it wasn't rape.
Right.
There was all these conditions that it had to be for it to be rape, and even then.
Because the law was designed to protect.
Yeah.
Generally white men.
Yeah.
And women were seen more as
property.
Property.
So if it wasn't,
not to the degree of slaves, but
property still to be controlled and used at will. So I think that when we're having these conversations about sexual assault, we need to be aware that just because you would do something a certain way does not apply to everybody. And we have to also remember that it is very common for sexual assault to take place when people are in a position of power. Rape is not about sex. It doesn't matter what the victim looks like, what they smell like, what they sound like, how they were dressed. Rape is not about sex. It's about taking somebody's power through a sexual means.
And sex ain't always about sex.
And that's also a thing.
Somebody told me that, and I was just like, because it's really hinting at what are the intentions behind sex.
Right.
There's an intention somewhere. Yeah. What is it?
For a lot of people, sex always has like an ulterior motive. You're just obtaining whatever through sex. that's it. You weren't there purely to be out here having sex. So I think that, of course, the laws need to change. And even it's sad that in 2021 that we're still having to relay basic information.
Yeah.
Like, you know that's rape, right? And people still be like, no, it's not. Until it's their little sister, their child, their female daughter. Because, you know, if it's their son, it's different. And, you know, it's just all very tiring. My line of thinking is because I was not there, and I never really want to be a juror, honestly, is that if you did it, I hope you go to hell.
Yeah.
I hope you get whatever you deserve on this realm, and then you go to the next one and you in hell. If you did not do it, I hope that the truth comes out and that you're exonerated, and that whomever accused you, knowing that it was false, gets what they deserve as well. Because that's a heinous thing to put on somebody. I just feel like they were mowing the grass that whole time.
Did you?
I tune everything out to keep me from being distracted. Because the hamster wheel. Yeah. So yeah. So that's had the streets kind of separated.
I just don't have any major feelings about it at all. And I guess, and you know, which is not new, I generally don't pay attention or have many feelings about much of anything unless it's concerning me.
Right.
And so, I guess, I agree with you because it's just kind of like, you know, I hope justice plays out here or in another world.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what we consider justice is not justice, and putting the idea of justice in the court of men is often a very difficult weight to carry because we don't always get it right. But I do hope that doesn't stop me from hoping that justice is served.
Yeah. You know what really gets me though is how many people make memes about sexual assault. And I noticed it the first time Bill Cosby, when his original trial was going. That is something I remember, because I remember in my group text somebody making a joke that was very tacky. It, for lack of better words, it was very shitty. And me being like, yeah, I think our conversations from this day on just kind of end. Because this wasn't like, okay, that was just bad taste. Like, no, this is really what you feel. And I was like, I don't know.
Well, I always stay with jokes. I say people find jokes funny because they're based in reality.
Yeah.
And you generally find the things that, you know, the funniest things to you generally have some kind of sense where it hit home with you. You kind of agree. Like, there's something about that particular joke that you at least agree a small amount with to find funny.
Right.
To make humor of it. And so when people joke to me, it says a lot about their personality, what do they think, and how do they feel.
Yeah.
And so while everybody else be like, oh, it's just a joke, I am never under the impression that it's just a joke.
I'm never
just like, oh, hee ha ha, it was funny. I'm never like that. I'm like, okay, what does this say? If you laughing about this to me, what does this say about who you laughing with to whomever else? Especially somebody who you know has the same humor and thought process as you.
Right. And you know, people love to say, I have a really dark sense of humor. And I actually had a friend a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, tag me in something about, it was like, I'll joke about anything, and I was like, let me put a disclaimer. I said, I joke about a lot of things. I said, I can make a good joke about 96% of life, but that other 4%, I have things that, I have a moral code. And I'll never joke about nobody losing their life. I don't joke about sexual assault. I don't joke about abuse and children. I mean, it's just, and I don't joke about animals. Like, it's just some things that I just be like, you know, like animals being harmed and killed. Like, I just don't find funny, and I have to wonder why, if you felt comfortable coming up to me as a woman and making a rape joke, and you're the only one laughing, why you Like, why did you think that was, you know?
And who you be making these other jokes to?
Who do you make? Because obviously you felt comfortable enough to say it.
That's like a race joke.
So exactly. So you've said it before. You've said it before. So for me, I'm like you. I give a side eye because all jokes are based in truth. That's what makes them funny, I guess you could say, because they have to be relative. And so, you know, that's why I've always been kind of cautious of friends who jokingly call me fat. I'd be like, you know, because even my closest friends who we go back and forth, I'm not talking about, you know, we talking about, oh, we got all these appetizers on the table, we talking about, oh, fat asses. But I'm talking about, like, we going back and forth and they be like, yo, fat ass. And I be like, that's weird. That's really, really weird that you say that. Because you meant what you said. You meant what you said.
You just did a LOL after.
Nah, baby. So, yeah. So, I've been just looking at people on social media really strange. Like, yeah, y'all weird. Y'all really strange out here. So, yeah, that was that. Oh, I did see that Black TikTok is, like, on strike.
I did. And, you know, I've been watching TikToks more because I'm trying to get more momentum with just watching the app. And so maybe that will inspire me to do
something for the app.
More of them. And because I do think it would be great, you know, to use it for the podcast, for you guys to see our personalities, just little short clips and stuff like that. I think it would be cool. But now they on strike, and I was just like, well, if they not making the dances for me, I ain't about to create one. So what do I do?
Well, and that's kind of been what it is.
Where I can just like pictures and just keep moving.
Well, that's kind of been what it's been though, like, because Black TikTok creates so much creativity and artistry that then goes viral and other TikTokers then use it. Now that those Black creatives are not producing, they can't produce it themselves.
Right.
So now it's like, ooh.
Regurgitated mess.
Yeah, now it's like, ooh. So now they're going back doing old stuff and, you know, trying to, I guess maybe like find their own avenue, but it's not working because you got your followers a certain way.
Right.
And, you know, they were talking about like just Black TikTok being stressed out, like they're not being compensated as their white counterparts are, even though they're the ones making these dances, they're the ones making the music, they're the ones making everything for it.
Right.
And I think that pretty much is real life. That's real life. You have,
we heard about that with the Netflix thing.
Yeah. You have these people who are creating for you, and you don't want to compensate them, you don't want to acknowledge them, you just want them to create so that you can put who you think deserves the money, who you think deserves the fame in the front. And when those people stop creating for you, now you quote unquote got writer's block. No, you never had anything. You just a parrot. You know how to look at something and do it.
Which has been happening for years.
Yeah, it's
but I
new.
think the things such as these protests and boycotts, I think it does make a difference in some way. And so at least it's going to make you acknowledge that this is a thing.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah.
And so, because, you know, I think about the LGBTQ community and a lot of the language, a lot of the dance, a lot of the dressing, you know, a lot of that is also borrowed or taken or stolen, whichever word makes you feel the most comfortable.
Colonized.
If that makes you feel comfortable. And it's used in mainstream. Yet, you know, the LGBTQ community, they don't necessarily get that credit or that acknowledgement or that pay.
Right.
Instead, they probably get ostracized for being that way in a mainstream setting, whereas a Nene Leakes or anybody else can walk in and do it and it be glamorized. Or we could even take it further and say that some of the Black women that do that are ostracized for it, but then their white counterpart come in, throw some tables and some drinks, walk out, talk about the network in a negative way, come back and make even more.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show though that behind a lot, when it comes to the arts, creativity, there are a lot of queer people of color who, you know, who just spearhead it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in the church, the most controversial place ever, how these churches win in these choir competitions, them gay black directors. And that's always been the thing. Like, if you don't like gay black people, then make sure that your choir director and your head musician,
Let them be straight.
let them be straight then.
And silent.
And see where it gets
They
you.
don't be wanting to sing like that.
Okay.
The men be like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. So in television, film, art, fashion, you know, there's always people that are...
That's Toby. If
I
y'all
swear.
hear it, that's Toby.
That's
He
Toby.
cleans the bottom of the pool. He comes up for air every now and
Oh,
then.
that's what it do? Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering. Because it did it earlier, and I was like, I'm scared.
Mhm.
It's malfunctioning.
He's gonna go back down in a little bit.
But yeah, so that's what's been going on with TikTok. Hopefully there's something gets rectified there. I don't really know. And that's not just a temporary band-aid.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get them back rolling. So yeah, because that's a job.
It is.
I mean, social media is really a job. If you're really making coin, you know, making your full living off of social media, it's a job. It's an everyday get up and be in front of the camera thing, and that itself is stressful. So at least compensate me for it.
Yes.
So yeah.
And we can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. That. What else? Is that it?
Yeah, Britney Spears' conservatorship was denied.
I seen that.
Very
And I was
sad.
like, I guess the judge wasn't worried about being on the right side of history, huh?
Well, he was on the right side of the paycheck. So
Okay. That too.
yeah. Since we touched on that last week, just an update for Britney. But yeah, I think that's kind of been it for the week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we kind of hit everything.
Who needs to mind their business this week?
The passport agency.
Oh, I'll double that.
I'm serious. We paid for this to be expedited, and I just don't understand. And I sent them a nasty email. So if we never get passports, we know why. I didn't put the numbers for
Okay.
the whatever. And I said I was able to send it anonymously, and they said if they want more information, then they'll contact me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what needs to mind it, because that's
Yeah.
just been my overwhelming thought is the passport agency.
You know, I will double that, and I will say, you know, there are a lot of times where I will pay for a service and understand that I may or may not get whatever service I'm expecting. But with this situation in particular, listing the date, paying the expensive
Expedition fee.
and being guaranteed it by a certain date, I just assumed that it would be there and it wasn't. And so, yeah, like, I don't know what, and I know that, you know, the Postal Service is going through their thing.